My name is Derek and I am an IT engineer working in Boston. My wife Susan and I have been married for 5 years, and we always thought we had a strong relationship. However, that all changed last Friday night. That day, the company's new product was launched, and my colleagues went to a bar to celebrate. I was reluctant to do so, but everyone was so enthusiastic that I reluctantly agreed. The bar was packed with people, co-workers talking and laughing over drinks, and Greg, a co-worker of Susan's who I didn't know very well, just a casual acquaintance, came up to me and said, "Hey, Derek, your wife's got a man on the side." But that day, he got drunk, came to me, and suddenly said, "Hey, Derek, your wife's got a man on the side. Do you know that?" I was confused, thinking what the hell is this guy talking about and how could Susan do such a thing? But Greg's expression was serious, and he wasn't being playful.
No kidding, Greg.
"Susan, I'm not fucking with you, man." Greg interrupted me, misty-eyed but firm. "Susan's been sick of you for a long time. We've been together for over 6 months. By the way, I don't think I'm the only one, but she's been with a couple of other guys in the company." I felt a wave of dizziness, and my mind went buzz. This can't be. This has to be a ridiculous joke. How could Susan do such a thing? How could Susan do such a thing? We've always had a good relationship, haven't we? But deep inside, there was a voice telling me that Greg wasn't lying to me. Thinking back to Susan's behavior lately, she always stayed out at night, and she was getting cold to me. All the details became clear in my mind like a jigsaw puzzle. I clenched my fists so tightly that my nails dug into my flesh, but I couldn't even feel the pain. My chest felt like a big rock and I couldn't breathe. I wanted to go up to Greg and punch him in the face and ask him why he would say such a thing. But deep down, I knew he was telling the truth. Bitterness and anger intertwined. I broke through the crowd and rushed out of the bar. The night was bleak, the wind was cold, but my heart was on fire. I wandered the streets in a daze, letting my mind wander. Susan, my wife of 5 years, betrayed me. The home that I had taken care of with all my might was so fragile and vulnerable. The beautiful moments of the past flashed in front of my eyes like horse lights, but now they were all turned into sharp blades, killing my heart over and over again. I didn't know what to believe. I didn't know where the future lay. The shock of betrayal crushed me, and doubt and anger took over. After that nightmare night, I took a couple of days off and locked myself up at home, not wanting to face anyone. Susan hadn't come back from her business trip yet, and the house was empty, with traces of her everywhere, which seemed so ironic now. I recalled over and over again how Susan and I met, fell in love, and got married, trying to find out the traces of her betrayal. As far as I can remember, Susan is a lively and cheerful girl. We have common hobbies and always have endless topics to talk about. The day I proposed to her, she said, "I do," with tears in her eyes, and I thought we would be happy forever. The years of our marriage were uneventful and cozy, and although we had our share of fights, we were always able to make up quickly. I worked hard and gave everything to our family, while Susan kept our home cozy and comfortable. I've imagined us growing old together countless times, and I believe that's what life is all about. But in retrospect, the signs were all there. Susan was getting colder and colder to me, and my hugs and kisses were always perfunctory. She started to work overtime more often and avoided talking about my concerns. She used to care so much about my feelings, but now she's just not warming up to me. All the details were listed in front of my eyes, but I turned a blind eye, until now this shocking secret has been revealed. I felt bitter and confused, like my whole world had collapsed. I didn't understand why Susan was doing this to me. Did I do something wrong? I gave her all I had, but I still couldn't satisfy her. How could the woman I cared for with all my heart be so cruel as to smash my heart to pieces? Torment and remorse tormented me day and night. It was all my fault. I was not good enough to make her seek another man. But reason told me that it wasn't my fault. It was Susan who betrayed our marriage, and that couldn't be covered up with love. In the midst of the pain, I became confused as to how to deal with it all. Can I still forgive Susan? Is there any chance of saving our marriage? Even if she returns to me, can I still love and trust her as I used to? But where do I go from here? How can I start over without Susan? Countless nights of tossing and turning, my inner struggle almost tore me apart. Sadness, anger, resentment, self-blame, negative emotions every day to drag me into the abyss. I know I can't go down like this, but I really don't know, without Susan, where do I go from here? I needed an answer, a guide to get me out of this fog. Otherwise, I was afraid that I would sink into depression and never see the light of hope in my life. Otherwise, I was afraid that I would sink and never see the light of hope in my life. The trauma of Susan's betrayal was too deep and too heavy. I had to make a choice. I had to make a decision for my life. Just as I was about to be consumed by pain, I remembered my best friends from college, Brian and Emily, who have always been my most trusted and supportive people. Although we haven't spoken often since graduation, they have always been the first to come to my aid whenever I've been in trouble. I hesitated, but I called Brian. Brian's voice was as warm and strong as ever, and I was stumped for words. I stammered, not knowing what to say, but Brian quickly recognized that something was wrong and followed up with, "Derek, what's wrong? You don't sound so good." I couldn't help but tell him everything that had happened, and Brian was silent for a few moments, then said in a firm voice, "Derek, it's not your fault. No matter what happens, Emily and I will always be there for you. We're coming over right now." Within 2 hours, Brian and Emily showed up at my doorstep. When I saw them, I couldn't control my emotions any longer, and tears poured out of my eyes. Emily hugged me tightly and stroked my back as if she were comforting a lost child, while Brian quietly led me into the house and poured me a cup of hot tea. In front of my friends, all my pretenses were removed. I told them about my struggles and pain, my confusion and anxiety, and Brian and Emily listened quietly, sometimes giving me a comforting hug, sometimes handing me a tissue. They stayed with me for the whole afternoon, listening to me vent all my negative emotions. I felt relieved when I talked to Brian, who began to analyze the pros and cons and give me advice. "Derek, I know this is hitting you hard, but you can't be stuck in the past. You need to make plans for your life." Brian said in all sincerity, "Think about it. Do you want to forgive someone who has betrayed you and stay with her? Is it worth it?" Emily chimed in, "Even if Susan repents, can you go back to the way things were? Will you still be able to trust her as much as you once did? Instead of settling for the rest of your life, why don't you start over and find someone who really loves you and won't betray you?" Their words made me think deeply. Brian and Emily were right. I couldn't stay put. I had to make choices for my own happiness. I have to make choices for my own happiness. Even if I try to fix a broken relationship, it will leave scars that can't be healed. Instead of being stuck in the past, I have to start a new life. When I was leaving, Brian patted me on the shoulder and said, "Brother, remember, no matter what choice you make, we will always support you and help you. Don't give up the whole forest for a tree. You deserve a better life." After seeing my friends off, I stood by the window for a long time, staring at the sunset in the distance, and Brian and Emily's words echoed in my mind. I had to face reality and make up my mind to work for my own happiness. I couldn't go on like this. I had to start over and pursue a new life. Brian and Emily's words were like a beacon of light that illuminated my path. I realized that I had to make a change, that I had to break the ties of the past in order to make a fresh start. In the next few days, I began to think seriously about my future. It became clear to me that if I stayed in Boston and stayed with Susan, I would never be able to really get out of the darkness and start a new life. I needed a fresh start, an environment that had nothing to do with the past. So I made up my mind to leave Susan, to leave Boston, to start over in a whole new city. It was a difficult decision, but I knew it was a step I had to take. Only by cutting off the past could I truly embrace the future. I started to make a detailed plan. First, I had to find a new job. I looked outside of Boston and started posting my resume on job boards. I researched the IT industry in different cities and evaluated the job opportunities and prospects. I also communicated with the HR manager of the company and expressed my desire to move to another city. Surprisingly, the HR manager was understanding and supportive of my request. He told me that the company had a new project in Chicago and was looking for experienced technicians. If I was interested, he could recommend me. The opportunity came so quickly that I was caught off guard. But after careful consideration, I decided to take advantage of it. Chicago is a fresh start, where no one knows me, no one knows my past. There, I can completely reinvent my life. So, I formally requested a transfer from the company and it was approved. I'll be joining the new project team in Chicago in a month. In the meantime, I started to take care of everything in Boston in preparation for the move. I didn't tell Susan about this decision, and I planned to wait until everything was in order before I asked her for a divorce. I knew it might be a shock to her, but I had no choice. I had to take responsibility for my life, not continue to settle for less. During this time, I realized how valuable Brian and Emily's friendship is. They helped me move, helped me with all kinds of procedures, visited me from time to time, and gave me encouragement and support. With their help, I feel that I am not alone and I have the courage to face the unknown future. Finally, everything was ready. I stood in the empty room, looking around, and it was like a lifetime ago. What was once a cozy home was now nothing but bleakness. But I knew that this was just the end of the old, and a new chapter was about to begin. I walked the streets of Boston for the last time, saying goodbye to the city that had been my home for so many years. I knew that I was on my way to a new future, a new life of my own. Chicago, a city of strangers and opportunities, welcomed me. When the plane landed at O'Hare International Airport, I felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. A new life had begun, full of unknowns and possibilities. I quickly found a place to stay arranged by the company, a comfortable apartment in the center of the city. The room was small, but clean and well lit. Standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows, I could overlook the streets of Chicago, looking at the endless river of cars and skyscrapers, and was filled with hope for the future. The new job started very quickly. The atmosphere in the Chicago office was relaxed and friendly, and my coworkers were very welcoming, taking the initiative to introduce me to the company and the progress of the project. I found myself quickly integrating into the new team, and my working condition became better and better. Focusing on my work has helped me to forget the pain of the past and find motivation in my life. Living in a brand new city, everything was new. I began to spend my spare time exploring every corner of Chicago. I strolled along the shores of Lake Michigan, enjoying the glistening of the lake. I traveled through the Chicago Art Museum, feeling the cultivation of art. I tasted Chicago's famous deep dish pizza, experiencing the delicious taste on the tip of the tongue. There are so many surprises waiting for me to discover in this city that I seem to have rediscovered the joy of life. In the course of exploring the city, I have also made some new friends. Some of them are my new co-workers, and others I met at various events. We explored the city together, shared our lives, and encouraged and supported each other. Gradually, I built up my own social circle and no longer felt lonely and helpless. I was especially pleased to meet a local book club at a company volunteer event. They hold regular book sharing sessions and discuss various interesting topics. Here, I found like-minded partners and regained the joy of reading. Every weekend, I would go to the book club to exchange ideas and share my feelings about each other's lives. This makes me feel more fulfilled and satisfied than ever before. Thus, as the days in Chicago passed, I gradually got out of the haze of the past and embraced the sunshine of life again. I realized that when you devote yourself to something, you don't have too much energy to think about the pain of the past. Life is always moving forward, and as long as we are willing to embrace change, we can always find new possibilities. In this process, I gradually found myself, but also re-recognized the meaning of life. I understand that happiness is not dependent on others, but to strive for their own. The road of life is long, fall down and get up is. As long as we are brave to move forward, we can always see the dawn of hope. Standing on the streets of Chicago, looking out over the bustling city, I felt a sense of relief and ease that I had never felt before. Just as I was getting used to my new life in Chicago and slowly moving on from my past, Susan appeared out of nowhere. She tried to get in touch with me in various ways, calling me, texting me, and even asking about me through my friends in Boston. At first, I chose to run away. Whenever I saw Susan's calls and messages, I felt a heart-wrenching pain. The wound has not completely healed. I do not know if I have the courage to face her, to face our past. But Susan didn't give up. One Friday night, I came home from work to find Susan standing in front of my apartment. Seeing her haggard face and pleading eyes, I couldn't help but feel a tremor in my heart. Derek, I know I hurt you, and I'm really sorry. Susan choked back a sob. But I really know it's wrong, and I'm willing to make it right. We still have a chance. We can start over. I listened in silence. My heart stirred up 1,000 waves. Part of me was touched by Susan's sincerity. Maybe she had really realized her mistake and changed. Maybe there is still a chance for us to get back together. But reason told me that this relationship could not be repaired. Susan's betrayal had burned indelible scars in my heart, and we could never go back to the past. Susan, I really appreciate you coming here and saying these things. I said calmly, but between us, there's no going back. You hurt me and betrayed our relationship. I used to trust you so much, but now, I can't love and trust you like I used to. No, Derek, give me a chance. I really will change. I'm sorry, Susan, I interrupted. I've made up my mind to start a new life. It's over between us. I want you to let go of the past and start over, too. With these words, my heart became firm. Yes, I have to make an end. For my own sake, for the sake of my future, I must let go of this broken relationship. I can't dwell on the past. I have to move on and start a new life. Susan's sad departure made me feel a pang of sadness. Once, we had a sweet and happy time. But now, everything is already light. In the world of feelings, no amount of words can undo the broken trust. Instead of just living your life, you should say goodbye and look for your own happiness. I took a deep breath and closed the door. I knew that I had truly said goodbye to the past and ushered in a brand new beginning. The past is like smoke, gone with the wind. In the future, there are infinite possibilities waiting for me to explore. From then on, I stopped avoiding Susan's contact. I told her frankly that we could not get back together and hoped that she could also let go of the past and start afresh. Gradually, Susan stopped bothering me, and she seemed to realize that our relationship was irretrievable. I, on the other hand, am fully engaged in my new life. Work, read, make friends. I live a fuller life than ever before. Although I still occasionally think of the past and feel a trace of bitterness, I know that it is only the price of growth. My life in Chicago is gradually getting on track, and I am devoting myself to my work and life. The company's projects were going well, and I was recognized by my supervisors and colleagues. In the midst of all the hustle and bustle, the company decided to throw a party to celebrate the milestones of the project. On the day of the party, all the coworkers got rid of the seriousness of work and gathered together. We talked and laughed, and the atmosphere was warm and cheerful. With a glass of wine in my hand, I talked with my colleagues and felt a kind of relaxation and pleasure that I hadn't felt for a long time. It was then that I noticed a figure in the corner. She was sitting quietly, seemingly out of place. I walked over to her and greeted her kindly. She looked up and I saw a pair of bright but sad eyes. Her name is Christina, and she is the newest employee in the marketing department of the company. We chatted and were surprised to find that we had similar experiences. Christina had once been betrayed by her partner, a painful experience that she still can't get over. I can understand how you feel, I said. The trauma of betrayal is so deep that it's hard for us to trust people again. Christina nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. The hardest part is that I don't understand why he did this to me. We used to love each other so much. I thought we'd go on forever. Listening to Christina, I could see myself in the past. I knew only too well how it felt to be hurt to the core of my heart. I gently patted her shoulder to give her comfort and encouragement. I understand. I really do. But we can't live in the past forever. Life goes on, and we have to learn to let go and embrace new possibilities. Christina looked up and gave me a smile. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Derek. Your words are very encouraging. I think I should really try to let go and start a new life. At that moment, a special understanding and empathy arose between us. Because of our common pain, we understood each other's feelings better. And because of our common experience, we encouraged each other to move forward. After the party, Christina and I exchanged contact information and became friends, and we often talked on the phone and shared our lives. We talked on the phone from time to time and shared our lives, and Christina told me that she was trying to let go of the past and start afresh. She enrolled in a painting class and started to learn a new hobby, She also started to try to socialize with new friends and gradually got rid of her loneliness. I, on the other hand, have become her most solid support. Whenever she felt lost and vulnerable, I would always cheer her up and encourage her to face the future bravely. Her progress and growth also make me feel gratified from the bottom of my heart. Gradually, I found myself looking forward to every interaction with Christina. Her voice and her smile gave me a special warmth. I began to think that perhaps in the countless times of encouragement and listening, our relationship had quietly changed. The feeling is subtle, but real. Like a ray of sunshine in winter, it made people feel warm and eager. I began to expect that there might be more possibilities between Christina and me in the near future. But I didn't rush to confess because I knew that we both needed time to heal the wounds of the past. Love is not a rescue, but a mutual attraction between two whole souls. Only when we both truly step out of the past and embrace our lives can we truly have each other. For now, I just want to be Christina's strongest support, accompany her through the low points of her life, and witness her growth and transformation. I believe that when the time is right, we will understand each other's feelings. Until then, I will wait patiently and take action to warm and protect this hard-earned friendship. Time passed unnoticed, and my friendship with Christina grew deeper and deeper. Our communication was no longer limited to talking about our pain and healing. We began to share our lives, encourage each other, and grow together. Gradually, I realized that Christina had become an integral part of my life. Her kindness, wisdom, and strength attracted me deeply. I, too, have become her most solid support without realizing it. One day we went for a walk in Lincoln Park. The fall sun was warm and welcoming, and the paths were covered with fallen leaves. We walked side by side, talking about work and life. Suddenly, Christina stopped and turned to me. "Derek, I think I owe you a thank you," she said sincerely. During this period of time, it was your company and encouragement that helped me find the courage to live again. You made me realize that the pain of the past should not be our shackles. We should be brave to embrace the future." I smiled gently. "I also want to thank you, Christina, for making me realize that love and trust are never just a matter of wishful thinking. Together, two people should understand each other, support each other, and grow together. And you've given me a chance to do that." At that moment, the feelings between us became clear and bright. It turned out that true love is not a blind devotion, but a mutual attraction and guardianship between souls. We have been hurt all over the body, but in each other's company to find the courage and hope. Naturally, we began to plan our future together. We talked about our ideal life, our dreams and visions. We agreed to travel to more places together to witness a wider world. We also agreed to fight for our dreams together, to create our own business. Gradually, I realized that the greatest blessing in life is not to have a smooth life, but to have someone to lend you a hand when you fall down, to walk with you through the darkness, and to witness your rebirth and growth. Christina is the best gift God has ever given me. In the days that followed, we went through a lot together. Difficulties at work, life setbacks. But as long as there is each other's support and encouragement, we are fearless. Every quarrel and misunderstanding have become the sharpening of our feelings. Every common effort and harvest have made our feelings more solid. Little by little, our life got better and better. We moved into a new apartment together and got a cute little dog. Our careers are on track, and we have found the ideal direction for each other. Looking back on this journey, I have a lot of feelings. Once, I thought that betrayal and pain would make me lose the ability to love forever. But now I have found a partner who really understands me, supports me, and walks hand in hand with me. I realize that love is never love at first sight, but a journey of growing together through the storms of life. Christina is the most beautiful encounter in my life. With her company, I am no longer afraid of the unknown future, because I know that no matter what lies ahead, we will hold hands, face, and cross together. Dear friend, if you are experiencing betrayal and hurt, I hope my story will give you some inspiration and encouragement. At one time, I thought the trauma of betrayal would haunt me forever, making it impossible for me to believe in love. But life has taught me that by letting go of the past and courageously starting a new life, we have the chance to meet someone better and gain sincere feelings. Pain and struggle are the necessary lessons of life. Only through experience can we truly grow. Don't let the hurt of the past define your life. You have to believe that there must be something good waiting for you in the future. Open your heart to new possibilities and create your own life with sincerity and courage. It may be a difficult process, but as long as you don't give up on yourself, you're sure to reap unexpected surprises. Remember, true love is never about controlling and getting, but about understanding, supporting, and fulfilling each other. Find the person who is willing to grow with you and walk hand in hand through the storms of life. You have the most precious treasure. I hope my story can give you inspiration and strength. Believe in yourself, love yourself, and bravely go after your happiness. I am sure that in the near future, you will meet the person who is worth committing your life to. Bless you, my friend. May you have the courage and wisdom to face all the possibilities of life. Remember, you deserve the best love and life has to offer. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have a story to share about your own or someone else's experience, please feel free to contact me. Take care.